Hello and welcome to New Central Television. I am Lekan Onobanjo. We begin in South Africa, where gun violence has taken the center stage once again as former politician Loyiso Nkohla was gunned down in Cape Town. Members of the African National Congress and the Land Party, organizations to which he belonged, confirmed his death. According to police spokesperson, Warrant Officer Joseph Swartbooi says Nkohla was addressing a meeting when he was gunned down on Monday. Circumstances of the shooting are still under investigation to determine the motive. And now Tshepi Mmekwa, our security expert, joins me from Gauteng for more on this. Thank you so much, Tshepi, for joining us.
Thank you for having me, and afternoon to your viewers.
Now, the assassinations of high-profile figures in South Africa have garnered a lot of attention of late. So can you shed some light on how this phenomenon fits within the broader context of gun violence in South Africa?
Now, the term gun violence in itself in the South African context is a bit misleading because South Africa has an issue with violence in its entirety. The only difference right now is that besides the killings we've been having over so many years, is that now high-profile individuals are now being murdered with the use of a firearm. So we've been having killings in South Africa, and especially political killings. Now the only issue is that it's been highlighted because of the high-profile individuals. Now, if you look at the organized crimes and transnational crimes, all these attacks are mafia-style attacks with the sole purpose of achieving economic gains, be it through drugs or tenders or even our minerals.
All right, we get to look at the factors surrounding that, but now you are saying that violence in South Africa is widespread. What has been the efforts of government so far in addressing this violence? What more can be done? Or would you say that the government has been complicit or lackadaisical in tackling it?
Well, I would go down and say government has been complicit. And why I say that is because in the last 12 years, the South African Police Service has lost over 26,000 firearms, until somehow they end up on the streets of South Africa. 26,000 coming from the SAPS. I would say government is complicit in it. The second thing is that we saw back in 2021 when the Ministry of Police tried to implement or, go ahead with an amendment to the Firearms Control Act, and which sought to address legal firearms instead of the illegal firearms. Now, that has since been put on a back burner after much outrage. But I would go as far as saying that they have done minimal effort in order to address this issue.
All right, well, Tshepi, you earlier on mentioned the fact that drug could be one of the reasons why we are seeing this rise in cases of violent attacks on citizens in South Africa. Can we also tie it to issues surrounding socio-economic, maybe politics or gangsterism factors as reasons for this spate of violence that we are seeing in the country? Because, of course, if we are able to identify the underlying issues, maybe there can be some sort of reduction on the nipping in the bud of this menace.
Absolutely. As I said in the beginning, we've always had an issue with political killings. So it's about positions within politics, again, monetary value in it. We've got a huge drug problem at the moment. We've got a big influx of drugs coming into the country, drug lords and so on. We've got a massive problem within the Western Cape context of gangsterism, which is rearing its very ugly head within the KwaZulu-Natal context as well. So if we were to address as a country, unemployment, which is very high in the country, if we were to address, the greed that happens within politics and so on, we would be halfway to addressing the issues around gangsterism and drugs and so on.
All right, then talking about drastic ways by which situations around gun violence can be dealt with. Are there any successful strategies or best ways that you feel it can be done? Because we know that in some other climes, there have been bills that have been passed to control the handling or the possession of guns in some countries, and in some areas, incentives have been given for people to return their weapons back to the police. So are there ways that you think that if South African government can employ can help in the reduction of gun ownership and, of course, the use of gun to perpetrate evil in others in the country?
Well, South Africa, fortunately, has some of the best laws in the world. And our Firearms Control Act is one of the best. So there is absolutely nothing wrong with the act as it stands. We need to address the illegal firearms. Legal gun ownership is not the problem. And we've seen over a number of times where, citizens whose licenses have expired, who are now handing them into SAPS, those guns finding their way onto the streets of South Africa during violent acts and so on. So that's certainly not the solution. The other thing is that we cannot, as South Africa, implore any other country's strategy. Why? Because our socioeconomic stance and our political environment is so much different. So South Africa is so unique in how it should address its own issue. So we need to have SAPS implore civil organizations, private sector, bring them all together in order to deal with the illegal guns that are making their way into the streets. It's no use that we have a South African police service that is shown to have leaks in itself. So we need to address the corruption within the SAPS to stop the leak of firearms getting into the hands of criminals and so on. So that is literally the best way we can deal with it.
So in doing all that, you believe that there could be an end to gun violence, or maybe a reduction in the number of violent cases as related to gun in South Africa, because definitely it will boil down to the sheer will of the people to do all that you've mentioned.
It's going to be down to the sheer will of the people. I think South Africans are tired of the killings that are going on, but it's no use we just talk about it and do nothing about it. We actually need to stand up and do something about it. And this is the fight that, organizations have come together in order to say, what do we do? How do we assist the SAPS in order to curb gun violence? Citizens know of people with illegal firearms. Why not report such incidences? Why they don't do it is because they are going to be possibly attacked or, reported by the police to the criminals to say so-and-so has reported you. So it is a vicious circle at the moment, which we need to address. And once we can address that, we will go a long way in achieving the issues around illegal guns that are running rampant.
All right. Thank you so much, Tshepi, for talking to us on the news.
Thank you for having me.